Hello everyone, and thank you for your company on this edition of Olsem Wanem. Tonight we move away from the city news and focus on culture. What used to be called the Gogodala Canoe Festival is now called or renamed Balimo Canoe and Canoe Festival.
The Western Province is renowned for its lush waterways, wide variety of bird and marine species, and the Oktedi mine, just to name a few. And once a year, thanks to the continued support from the National Cultural Commission, the township of Balimo comes alive with the annual Regional Canoe and Canoe Festival.
The Gogodala Canoe Festival now, they have changed the name recently this year to Balimo Canoe and Canoe Festival. It started 10 years ago as Balimo District and Agriculture. So 10 years ago, we went in and witnessed the festival. And then from there, we suggest to the Middle Five District Administration to change the concept from an agriculture show into a canoe and Canoe Festival, basically because in the Gogodala area, they have a very strong culture associated with canoes. So the need there is for us to encourage them to continue to maintain the canoe culture and the canoe culture. When we see a canoe as a canoe in the river, but the entire culture, beginning it from the time when the tree is young, how the tree is growing, and then when it chopped and it down to actual making of the canoe, and then actual putting the canoe into the river, and then the end life of canoe. So the canoe itself has a very big culture associated to it. Also, if you look again the Gogodala culture and particularly surrounding the Gogodala, there are almost like 12 tribes in Gogodala that makes up the Gogodala. So, but now we have changed the name to Balimo Canoe and Canoe, which also include the non-Gogodala tribes, which are also living within the Middle Fly district. So basically from there, that's where we were coming in. That's where NCC's main emphasis was to assist them to maintain and promote that important culture. But apart from that we were developing the program and also trying to encourage them to see that the canoe, the culture that they have must be maintained. At the same time, we're also trying to assist them to see that what they have, they can also make a living out of what they're having.
Balimo town is relatively small and comprises of an admin building, a trade store, police station and market. The festival has drawn much needed attention to its infrastructure, with the inclusion of a new banking facilities and plans to build new accommodation to cater for the festival in the coming years.
The main idea behind purchasing of this asset is for us to do a training course on tourism and hospitality. So the facility now deals with receiving of guests. That on my lineup I have about five tourism and hospitality training teachers, and they man this place by way of doing courses related in the trade of hospitality and tourism. A lot of interest and people, especially guests who would want to come. I'm looking at doing 1 or 2 extensions. We've seen that there are a couple of
the festival runs, the more exposure and publicity the event has, and then it will slowly will attract.
This is Olsem Wanem. We'll be back with more from Balimo right after this break. You're watching Olsem Wanem. The 10th Regional Canoe and Canoe Festival was held last week in Balimo with more than 12 tribes participating in the annual canoe race, an event that promotes the culture of the Middle Fly area. By maintaining culture, they aim to empower themselves and their future.
Approximately 25,000 people in 33 villages are a part of the Kokodala tribe. The territory spreads from the Aramia River to the Low Fly River and is divided up into west, east and fly areas. The Kokodala occupy mostly the flat terrain and the floodplain areas. Their location is the very reason why canoes are an important part of their cultural identity. They are a water-based civilization, and for the people, the Balimo Canoe and Kundu Festival allows them to showcase the famous canoe race. As with all cultural practices, there is a purpose and meaning which their art and event symbolizes. Balimo is accessible by plane. Airlines PNG and Air Niugini can bring you to Balimo with a stopover on Daru Island. Flying into Balimo allows a great view of the giant Fly River and the Bamu River. Balimo town is named after the Balimo village itself, and you can find the medical centre for the Middle Fly area, as well as the administration offices for education and other services.
You're watching Olsem Wanem. When we return, more on the Balimo Canoe and Kundu Festival. Welcome back. Balimo possesses a lot of potential as a tourism destination and hopes to one day capitalize on the festival's growing popularity. It will also present a chance to implement the district's medium-term 5-year plan.
The town of Balimo has recently seen some infrastructural development within its township, with the inclusion of new cottages to cater for the accommodation for visitors who wish to venture there. But these changes became apparent in 2010 when communities with the Middle Fly area decided to seize the opportunity to increase the tourism potential. One of the most significant improvements to the township is the reconstruction of its airport, which is currently in its infant stages, working in partnership with the National Airports Corporation. The outlook for Balimo looks promising with positive developments taking shape. The next Balimo Canoe and Kundu Festival will be even better.
The labor force that are coming in to settle there, to be housed, so they will work on the airport redevelopment. So redevelopment will basically be on the first phase is to do the alignments of the 2,800 meters airport corridor, and they will have to work on the corridor. Probably will have to dig most of the turf in there out and replacing it with certain materials that are brought in from Port Moresby. Middle Fly does not have kind of material like the gravels or stones or to build the airport. So they have to shift almost all the gravel from outside of this electorate.
Another festival that is sure to make waves is the National Mask Festival that will be staged for the first time in Kimbe, West New Britain Province. The festival will run from the 19th to the 22nd of July, and if you're interested to assist with the preparations, call the NCC office and ask for Mr. David Time. We'll be back right after the break. You're watching Olsem Wanem. Next week, we address the real estate and housing issue currently facing many Papua New Guineans in urban centers around the nation, particularly our capital city, Port Moresby. Here's a preview.
The Office of Urbanisation located at Waigani is led by Director Max Kep. We had a discussion with him on the housing issues faced by many middle-class and low-income workers seeking housing. Mr. Kep reflects on the suitably construction urbanisation policy, paying particular attention to the second component, which refers to sites and services.
The second component is about site and service. Olsem Wanem, and we have a situation where we have very high rental rates. We have large segments of the cities and towns turning into slums, squatters, and informal. And that's a very critical question that we have to ask. How come we are ending up like this? So site and service that the urbanization policy advocates is critical to answering this question. Everything that development takes place happens on land. And if we don't make land available, properly serviced, properly made into section lot allotments with water, power, sewage, and all the easements, the towns and cities will turn into slums and shanty towns. The second component of the policy advocates that there should be large-scale site and service program. And we say, let's put it to the private sector. That's a mistake. The private sector can put millions of kina into land development. But when they want to put the land on the market, they have to recover their costs. And just the land itself is going to be very expensive. And if there's housing on top of it, it's going to be double, triple expensive. So ordinary citizens and ordinary public servants, it's beyond their reach. Advocacy is that it should be done by government, by urban and authorities to find the land, develop the land, and make it available.
Housing issues in urban centres are showing a large number of middle-class and low-income workers creating homes within informal settlements as they face challenges with current rental fee prices. We asked real estate manager James Mipson from Century 21 to elaborate on the current real estate trends and pose the issue of regulation on the real estate industry. A focus raised recently by Treasurer Honourable Polye after his recommendation to review a report made by PNG's Independent Consumer and Competition Commission in 2010.
Well, ICCC introduced or at earlier on were instructed by the government to look into this when they saw that all the prices have blown out of proportion at that time. And a lot of Papua New Guineans did put a pressure on the government to be able to look into it, and that's when they said they would be regulating the market or regulating the prices in one way or the other. From our opinion, regulating the industry, yes, the government can be able to do something to regulate the industry, but regulating prices, if you see prices, they're determined by the supply and demand factors. And if the supply is low, that's when the demand increases. So it's a mechanism of supply and demand. At that time, we didn't have a lot of properties on the market, and the demand started increasing, so prices also increased. Now we're coming to a stage where it's at equilibrium. So although the government would want to see the prices coming down, and for middle class or even lower class Papua New Guineans to own properties, they need to free up a lot of land, and I mean good residential land. They need to free it up. They need to get the state agency like National Housing Commission or Lands Department to go into partnership and free up land or or those existing ones with state leases, they need to exercise those particular conditions or improvement covenant on the leases. Customer landowners are now seeing that there is a need, or the demand is increasing, and they are now being encouraged by the government to voluntarily, register their land and partake in the economic benefits. And customer landowners, they're seeing these opportunities, and now they're forming from what I know, they're forming ILG groups to be able to, as you know, they're owned by the community as a group rather than individuals. So they're going into ILGs, groupings, and they're registering themselves through Lands Department. And now they're converting those customer land into freehold titles or state leases, and some of them are actually benefiting from it.
And that ends the preview for next episode. Thank you for watching Olsem Wanem. We hope that you've enjoyed tonight's edition on the wonderfully celebrated Balimo Canoe and Canoe Festival. The National Culture Commission would like to express gratitude to their major sponsors, the Western Provincial and Middle Flight District Administrations, Crown Nest Hotel in Daru, and the RH Group of Companies. For more information, you can contact Senior Festival Officer, Mr. David Time, at the NCC office. We look forward to your company next time when we feature more on the real estate housing issue. That's next week on Olsem Wanem.